Fox Urgent, President Obama is set to tell the nation his plan for dealing with the brutal savages of that al-Qaeda spin-off terror group, ISIS. He's scheduled to meet with congressional leaders at the White House on Tuesday, we're told, and then that national address on Wednesday. A senior administration official is telling Fox News the president is likely to lay out where we stand against ISIS right now and what the next steps are, quote, in the months ahead. Will it be the so-called strategy that the president said he did not have a week ago? This may be a shift in communication from the president after what's been really a series of mixed messages on ISIS. From no strategy to saying the terror group could be managed to saying ISIS cannot be contained and must be dismantled. The man who challenged the president in 2012, former Republican presidential nominee Governor Mitt Romney, is saying he would have done a better job than President Obama at this point. In a one-on-one exclusive interview with Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday, Governor Romney said President Obama is disconnected on a wide range of problems, including ISIS, facing the nation.
I think the president is really out of touch with reality when it comes to what's happening in the world. And I don't know why that is. Perhaps it's political philosophy, it's foreign policy views. But look, he looked at Russia and thought that was a friend we should reset relations with. He looked at al-Qaeda and said they're on the run. Just more recently, he looked at ISIS and said, oh, they're just the junior varsity. He looks at Iraq and says, hey, they're strong and able to care for themselves.
Leland Vittert is live with the news in Washington tonight. Leland, this feels a little familiar, like the Sunday shows are bringing back Romney versus Obama, the debate there, especially over foreign policy.
Deja vu all over again, Harris. But this time we saw a slightly more reflective President Obama than we have in the past. And certainly the president's tone has changed about ISIS, contrasted from when he referred to them as the JV team. Still, though, he stopped short of sounding the alarm bells too loudly.
I want everybody to understand that we have not seen any immediate intelligence about threats to the homeland from ISIL.
The president was, I don't know, too busy on the golf course to pick up the phone and meet with the leaders around the world and to say, what happens if? You know, the Pentagon was going through what-if scenarios, but the president apparently wasn't, hasn't developed a strategy.
Remember, 2 years ago, President Obama mocked then-candidate Mitt Romney's foreign policy views by saying the 1980s called and wanted them back. Romney appeared to feel vindicated by the events of the past 2 years, especially when it came to the rise of Russia and ISIS. And he hit the president as being out of touch. In an interesting and unusual moment, President Obama seemed to regret what many say is the best evidence of his detachment, playing golf on his vacation shortly after giving a speech about the beheading of American journalist James Foley.
After the statement that I made, that I should have anticipated the optics. That's part of the job.
There's no question in my mind that I think I'd have been a better president than Barack Obama has been. No question in my mind about that. And there are other good people who I'm sure will be able to lead the country in the future. I wish it were me.
Well, Romney didn't hold any punches. He also said he thought that voters had buyer's remorse for picking the president over him. In the end, of course, one has to look at the optics of the interviews themselves. President Obama, after all, was in the White House. Romney joined Chris Wallace from Salt Lake City. Harris?
That's a very good point. You know, I point this out, too. So Ronald Reagan, on his third try, made it to the White House. I was reading some of the blogs online, some of the news writing this past week saying, could Governor Romney be eyeing that third try as possibly his victory? And, addressing the possibility of a third run for the White House. Did he talk about that?
Chris Wallace asked him in every way possible, and you always look for a Sherman-esque statement named after William Tecumseh Sherman. This guy, the great Civil War general, often courted as a presidential candidate and quoted as saying by many, if nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. And despite being at the very top of the latest poll in Iowa, Romney said, quote, I'm not running, I'm not planning on running. Harris?
Well, that's semantically slightly different. Leland Vittert, good to see you. Thank you. We did learn today the U.S. military is launching new airstrikes against ISIS militants near another key dam inside Iraq, and this is new. U.S. operations with regard to that are then moving our people closer to the Syrian border, where ISIS obviously has been operating all along. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel says securing the Haditha Dam is vital to protecting the people of Iraq as well as U.S. interests there.
If that dam would fall into ISIL's hands, or if that dam would be destroyed, the damage that that would cause would be very significant, and it would put a significant additional and big risk into the mix in Iraq.
Dominic DiVitale is live from our West Coast newsroom. And Dom, what did these airstrikes involve today?
Well, it was 4 separate airstrikes, Harris, on key positions on towns close to Haditha Dam that have been overtaken by ISIS. The Americans very concerned that if those ISIS fighters were to take control of the dam, they could either open the sluice gates or perhaps even blow the dam up, sending a catastrophic flood downriver to Baghdad, which is 175 miles further south on the Euphrates.
It's a new strike around that dam, Haditha Dam, but it isn't anything different from what the President has said in his guidance to the military and what our parameters are: protect the interests of Americans and the infrastructure that would protect Americans.
And of course, one more important aspect of the strikes today, they have now spread west into the province of Anbar, which of course has long been a hotbed of Islamic activity and was at one point where Al-Qaeda was based during the U.S. occupation of Iraq. Harris?
You know, from last week we learned the president had been able to put the core coalition of about 10 countries, not about, 10 so far. And missing from that group, because most of them were European, were any of our Middle Eastern partners. And so broadening the area of U.S. airstrikes, targeting ISIS, what response is that getting from some of the Arab world tonight?
You know what? It's very telling how mute exactly they are. And one of the reasons for this is the fact that when America gets involved in a situation like this in the Middle East, it's usually assisting one side of the widespread sectarian war that's going on. So you'd think the Saudis would pipe in and actually say something at a point like this. We haven't heard from them. Together with the Jordanians, both these countries do have air power that could help us fight ISIS, and yet they have not been forthcoming. It has to be said that, yes, you're right, when you look at that coalition of NATO countries that Obama has put together, Middle Eastern countries are conspicuously absent from that coalition. Listen.
Turkey is a NATO member, and it is threatened by ISIS. So the fact that all NATO members are not on board, that it's only a total of 10, I actually find that pretty disturbing.
And so it seems to appear that Middle Eastern countries yet again relying on America and its Western allies to solve the problems right on its doorstep, Harris.
Dominic, thank you very much.